Up, guys? It is me, Xander, again. Finally, we are releasing the second interview I did with Bandai. Sorry for the delay. I wanted to get the video of me unboxing the Tamas before doing the interview, just so you guys kind of have a intro into what we're talking about. If you didn't check out that video, make sure you do. I'll leave a link to it. It was uploaded last week. And if you could, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. And I was really happy to do this interview. It was amazing. We got to talk to Tara Batty. She is the director of brand marketing at Bandai America. But much like Cisco, instead of handling the kind of more boy-oriented toys like Dragon Ball, One Piece, Digimon, she is in charge of Tamagotchi, the Tamagotchi collaboration devices, as well as some other things in Bandai. So this interview is a lot more focused on the Tamagotchi side of Bandai, and it was really interesting. We got a lot of insight on what goes into these collaborations, how they choose what comes out in America, and also a bit more of an insight on the ones that are exclusive to America. And for those of you wondering, I did ask her about the eevee Tamagotchi, and we actually got an answer to that, whether or not we are getting that in America. So definitely check out this video. There's a lot of really, really cool information, not only about the eevee Tamagotchi and its backstory, but also some more insight on the Demon Slayer Tamagotchi and the Wave 3 that I did get. Subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you guys in the end section. Enjoy, and I'll see you later.
And I think that's what's so great about this world right now is the fact that it's all about letting everyone in, right? Like, you're right, we go to showroom and we do presentations in showroom, and then they let the PR people in, and then it's like some special influencers were able to get in. But with us all going into our worlds, we've all created our digital spaces so much different and have the ability to be able to do this. I mean, we set this up to be able to present to our retailers in the best way so they could see the product. And then it turned out to be a great opportunity to be able to, better than in our living rooms, trying to like show product on our little computers. So we're excited.
Thank you. So, just to start with the first question. Both the Tamagotchi, both of these minis have just been a huge smash hit in Japan, and they've made so much of a smash hit over there. It's splashed over here. A lot of people who are, Tamagotchi fans who collect every single variation out there, and even just more casual fans that, are fans of Demon Slayer, are fans of Evangelion, who haven't had a Tamagotchi in probably 20 years. Even they're buying these. So, I did want to know, both of these franchises are having huge theatrical releases right now. Demon Slayer Infinity Train, I think, was making a pretty big wave in American box office, which is
I think it's like the #1 foreign movie now in America or something.
Yeah,
do it or something.
Yeah, which
amazing.
Is absolutely amazing. And then Evangelion over in Japan is also having their own theatrical run with their the last movie kind of capping everything off. I was just wondering, was that just a happy coincidence, or were those two did that just do you guys plan that these to come out around this time?
I can't, because these are products that come from the Japan team.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk to them, and our offices, we're a Japanese toy company, so everything comes from Japan. Some items are made specifically for the Western market, and then these are actually made for the Japan market, that we knew that the fan base here on these two properties are so huge and so excited that we thought we could bring in product ourselves. Because let's be realistic, product was getting here. It was just coming here at 3 times the price point, which is unfair for our core fans. So we thought, we'll do the same thing. Why don't we be the ones that bring it in and we provide it to the fans? Our hardest is Japan's timelines are very different than our timelines from a production standpoint, and getting things to be going on like Amazon and getting to the retailers of everything that needed to. Hopefully we'll get to where we announce day and date and have product available day day and date. The problem is the timeline between, or the length it takes to get from our production to Japan is much smaller than the production to the US. Takes a lot longer to get there. But to answer your specific question, this is from the Japan team, so I can't talk specifics on this. I think it's a combination of the Tama team really looking at what's big in the market and what works, which they can interpret into this, and looking at what's coming, right? They know what's, they know what's coming in. It's the same thing I will tell you from our own perspective, things that they're doing specifically for us for the Western market. Can't speak to them yet, but they look at what's coming down the pipe and they introduce items that we believe will be something that will be big in the US market, in the Western market next summer, for instance, right? That's what I was just presented last night. So, it's happenstance, but I think it's more about our team really looking at trends. And it could be, I can't speak specifically. I don't know if the licensors for these brands came to us, because I know that's happened to us on some items. So I think it's just both teams, marketing's looking at what's big and trending and where do they think is a good fit. And then they work together and bring out these amazing products. I'm a marketing person, so I can call these products amazing. It's not like doing this to myself because I didn't make them.
Thank you so much. So there's actually, you did mention it, and I thought it was very interesting because I did have an interview with Cisco. He was a part of your Digimon team.
Yes.
And we mentioned the same thing, where it's just like, it is true. These products are getting here, and because we're just such huge fans and we're worried about missing out, we pay these crazy prices. So I am very thankful that at Bandai, you guys are keeping an ear to ground on that and trying to circumvent that, because I really do appreciate that. Because the one thing about V-petting that I've noticed, it just kind of blew up the later half of the teens, and coming into this new decade, it's wonderful that now the bar for entry is a lot lower, because these prices on these devices are just like amazing. I mean, they're just like a dream come true. But along with that, they are so much easier to get your hands on. You can just walk into a store and pick one up, or even just get them right from Amazon and sent to your door. So if you don't mind, could we just like get a nice little look at some of these different variations that we got here and just the different looks?
Definitely. So you are right. And that's one of the things that we wanted to do is, we know the fans are here. We want to bring the product to the fans, whether it's Digimon, whether it's Tamagotchi. We even have our own Bandai Premium website, which we're bringing in some higher end items that sold on there, because we know that there's fans of all of our Bandai products, and we know it's getting here, and it's unfair that you guys are having to pay. I mean, trust me, we're selling more product versus having it come directly from Japan. So it helps us. I'm not trying to say that we're doing it, but we look at those prices and we're like, this is insane. Like, why are it's amazing to me that you guys are such big fans, which is exciting to me. Don't get me wrong, that you guys are willing to pay those exorbitant prices. But, that's why we try to do as much as possible when something's announced in Japan, to jump on as quickly as possible to let you know that it's coming. We might be a little bit later, but it's coming at the more reasonable price points that we've already set. So with that, let's start with our Demon Slayer. We brought this out last fall, I think it was. We've got 3 different waves that are out right now. Really exciting. The third one is, I think, shipping now. We're about to ship a little earlier than expected. We thought it was going to be an August ship, and we're really excited. So we have, let's see here, if I work backwards and upside down, we've got our wave 1, which really focuses on the 2 core characters of the Demon Slayer brand. Really, the programming is the same. So for wave 1, and these are wave 2, we came back with. There is a third one in wave 1. It's an Amazon exclusive, and unfortunately, I don't have that sample, so I apologize, I can't show it to you. So the programming is the same. So it's all about raising, or it's really training the Demon Slayers to become better slayers, and depending on how you treat them and how you take care of them will decide which Demon Slayer it becomes in the end. So it's really bringing in the play pattern of Tama, but it's really weird. You don't really think about that training is actually nurturing, right? The core of Tama is about nurturing. And so if you take it and you say training and nurturing is the same thing. It's just done differently. We take training as more of like train, but really you're doing the same thing. You're giving them what they need to get better and stronger. And that's kind of how we see it. So that's how they fold into the core play pattern of Tama. So anyway, so we released these, like I said, there's 3 in wave 1 and 2 in wave 2. They have the same programming, but really everyone has their favorite characters or their favorite look that they want to collect and they want to do. Then the new items, which is what we call our wave 3 product, that's, like I said, we are pre-selling right now, but we should be shipping any day now because the product got here faster than we expected for the first time like ever. But with that, these are what we call the Hashira collection. So these are actually based on each of the Hashira, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. And with that, the programming's slightly different. So it has different games. Part of raising or training your Demon Slayer has games. And so how often you play it, how well you do, helps you decide which of the Demon Slayers you end up getting. So with that, so our wave 3 has different programming. So we're really excited about that, to have that variety. And like I said, all of this product, we're selling, wave 1 and wave 2 inventory might be getting lower and lower. I apologize for that because we've sold through it. But we are, like you said, we've got GameStop, we've got Amazon, we've got Hot Topic, we've got Barnes & Noble, and we have a whole bunch of independent hobby shops, which is kind of fun to be able to give them some items that are kind of more unique to them and not available in some of the mass retailers. So with that, let's move over to our, what we call the evachtis. So with that, this is actually, okay, so stick with me on this one a little bit. So slightly different is the storyline is that the angels are like put back into their embryonic state and they're put into these like containers that are called evachti containers, and you have to take care of them. And again, how you take care of them decides what they grow up to be. So we have 6 different versions, 2 different waves of them. Programming is the same, but again, really focusing on which character you really like and which one, or which looks. I think some of these characters we have have different looks to it. Again, all adding, again, this is more raising and versus the training, but it still have the core play pattern of keeping it clean, feeding it things based on, like, I think it's these characters get the watermelon because I know they like watermelon, and over here it's rice ball and green tea. So it's really taking, and the development team does a really good job of really understanding the content and being able to kind of put in just the little things, right? Like just changing, because the original Tama would be rice bowl and candy, so they changed it to rice bowl and green tea. For the evachti ones, it's more of, and yes, I'm looking at my cheat sheet so I don't get it wrong for those fan bases because I know that they're gonna get mad at me. It's an S2 engine, so it's more of that kind of thing, plus the watermelon. So I assume, which is key part of that play pattern of who they are. The games are really focused on what it is based on each of the different devices and the play patterns that go with it. But again, there's always games and little videos that kind of show up, bringing in different kind of content. They take the content, it's amazing if you watch these. They take content that you see and they put them in like this little, digital format, and you can totally see the comparison and understand what's going on. So it's a lot of fun being able to bring in another layer of content to each of these devices.
That's awesome. I actually did not know that the evachti had like a little story. I didn't know it had like its own little story that kind of worked in with the lore. I think that's really cool, actually.
Yeah, it's and I apologize if I get it incorrect. Go to the web bandai.com because it'll be more correct probably. But I think that's part of the process. Like if it doesn't 100% tie directly and they want to bring it there, they'll kind of sort of create a little bit within the realm and the world of it, but still be appropriate from a content perspective to bring variety.
I'm more of an Evangelion fan than Demon Slayer. I can tell you're definitely doing well on that end. So I can't really speak much for the Demon Slayer, sadly. It's something that, and I find that very, it's almost like this is kind of like fate in a way, because a lot of people have been asking me about the Demon Slayer Tamagotchi, and they're saying, hey, can you get one? Can you show it off? And I was like, sure, but I haven't seen the show yet. So like maybe, and then I got one recently, funny enough. And then you know, you guys mentioned me like, hey, would you like another? I was like, sure.
Have we sent you these? Have we sent you? Well, I guess this is what you really want. Have we sent you the emojis yet?
I'm getting both soon. But I did actually.
Which one did you want?
Are
we getting you the one that you want? I hope.
Any of them, honestly. I didn't want to be I didn't want to sound like I didn't want to be picky. I like all the colors really. And I actually did get the purple one when it first came out in Japan, and that one took forever to get to me. So I'm very happy that I can get one that I can understand.
Well, it's still all of these are still Japanese programming in the Japanese packaging. So they still have that. But what we've done is we have the English instructions on Bandai.com.
Wonderful.
So you can download. So for those fans that are Tama fans, they know how to use those 3 buttons and they understand kind of how it all works. For those that are, and I say the Evangelion wrong because I just say it wrong. I'll just admit that. And the Demon Slayer fans that might not really understand how Tama works, it might take a little bit longer, but we do have the English instructions so they can understand what's going on. And as you hopefully know, within like a couple minutes, you kind of get it. And there's not a lot of languages. It's very visual versus language. So it's not like you're missing much from not having the English. But we thought those fans that are big fans of this would prefer a Japanese version to make it more authentic with what the culture and where it comes from. So that's why we kind of decided to do that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it would also just the process of kind of nixing a translation kind of, I think, gets it out to stores quicker too as well.
Oh, it definitely does. And I'm finding some of my collaborations on some of the others, these are much stronger collaborations on and much more longer play pattern than some of my other items that I'm like, we need to add some more stuff to some of these products out here, because the level that the Japan team does on these, like you said, to translate it into different languages. Thankfully for us, English is usually the first one they translate to.
Wonderful.
So we do, but for these, we're finding that the fans are excited and the Japanese isn't stopping them from purchasing it, because again, like I said, it's takes a little bit of time, but once you're in it, you forget that you're playing something that's not in English.
Yeah, and that's something I feel like I think it scares a lot of people at first, when they don't kind of or they're not in that sphere, because just like you said, like most VPET fans, we've been using Japanese devices. It's really not that hard to get used to it. You kind of forget that it is in Japanese. Like I get a lot of people always ask me like, "Oh, can I use this? Is it Japanese?" Like it's not gonna hurt you. You get used to it after a while. And I do appreciate the use of an online guide. I mean, that's like the easiest way to get things out to people.
Yeah, it's something that I really pushed for, because on my other Tama product lines that are made for the Western market, very much for different countries, because those other products are very leveled and there's a lot of play pattern to them that has a lot of levels, and I'm like, how can we ask a new generation to fall in love with our Tamagotchi characters if we're keeping it high level and not putting the language in there? So I'm excited that our new product, not to talk about that one, our new Tamagotchi Pix is multilingual programming, so that our fans can really get into it who aren't just English speaking. So we're excited about that. But this, I really wanted to make sure that there was English instructions, and we put them on the website, and they're all downloadable. So so for those that do want to print them, they're always done on 8.5 by 11 automatically, because we assume everyone can print. I always get these instructions and they're like, not 8.5 by 11. I'm like, real people at home don't know how to resize these things. So you need to do it so they can print directly, push the print button, it's going to print exactly how they want it. So that's what we've done. Bandai.com has all of I think that Demon Slayer, because we're so early on shipping them, we're finalizing that instruction. So Demon Slayer 3 should be up there soon.
Wonderful. Okay, so thank you very much. I do really appreciate kind of all the work that goes into bringing these over here. One of the things I wanted to ask was just like, what are some of the strategies that you employ to kind of keep that VPetting like love alive? Because for a while there was like a lull in releases as far as in the West, but there's been like this explosion recently. So kind of what like inspired that Bandai to kind of like come full force back into it, and what are some of the strategies you guys use just to kind of keep that word of mouth going?
Yeah, it's interesting because in Japan, the Tama brand hasn't really gone away. you're correct here. It hasn't been strong over the last couple of years. Yes, we came back to life really in 2017 with it celebrating the 20th anniversary with the mini Tamagotchi, and it has continued to build and continue to go in so many different directions moving forward, and it's very exciting. Because I think the end of the day, why it still resonates almost 25 years later is because it's all about, whether it's nurturing or training, however you want to look at it, is something that's in everybody, right? Like that's a core play pattern that everyone can understand and everyone can relate to. And the play pattern's not that difficult, but it gives you something to do. When we released the chibi back in 2017, everyone was like excited that it was back, but then they're like, but we want the real one. And we were sitting here going, we would think you'd want something simpler because all you millennials are crazy busy now. You're working, you're not just in school, so you don't have time to constantly be taking care of one. But of course, they pushed back, and the chibis were very, because it was, again, like you said, they weren't in the market for a while. And so that's why we brought original really quickly. If you look at the how quickly those two items came to the market, you'd be surprised, because it's an 18 to 24-month process to bring all of these items into a market from the very beginning, let alone add a licensor, because that's a whole nother layer. Yeah. When you have to work with other licensors. But with those, it was like the timing was just right, and that's what's important and what people are looking for. Also, we find from research that even though these are electronics, people look at these differently than like on their iPads and their cell phones, and so they feel like it's a completely different play pattern. We constantly get comments from this, but not anymore. But when I was starting to try to sell in new lines, it was like, well, why? There's a cell phone, an app that's free. Why do I need this? And it's like, but people look at these completely different. Like everything, we do have them, by the way. We have my Tamagotchi Forever, I think it is. It's Tamagotchi Forever Tamagotchi, and I feel bad. My sister companies are like killing me right now for not saying that correctly. And they're out there, and it's doing phenomenally well, and it's been out there for a couple of years. And what's great is you can do that play pattern, but it's more of a game versus here you feel like you're really taking care of something that's in this like device that's all yours that you can own. The younger generation loves it because it doesn't require Wi-Fi. Like, talk about portability for us was always about just putting it on a bag and being able to go. Now it's all about, I can play this during my soccer games because I don't need Wi-Fi. So.
Yeah, I think millennials want really one of the old ones back too, because our teachers can't take them away from us anymore. So.
You should see some of the social comments and how people have gotten away with it. Like they're talking about, oh yeah, we used to like turn the volume off and I'd hide it up my sleeve and then I'd pull it out, feed it, put it back up the sweatshirt sleeve and things. So, yeah. It is endearing, but I think it goes beyond that at this point. We have a whole new generation, which is exciting. And I think as long as we're constantly bringing in something new and different, it continues to bring in that fan base. So, as we have yes, we've got at this point, 14 different styles of Demon Slayer. So you can choose, and Tom has always been about collectability also. So even though programming is the same, you still want to collect different styles. But I'm excited that there's 2 different programs here to have a reason to be like, oh, what are the games here? Because these, Wave 3 has 3 different games than Wave 2 does. So it's a different ways to play with your favorite characters.
And I think that's always the thing. I mean, even when the programming isn't different, just having a new color, it's just like, ooh, I really like that the most about Tamagotchi is it's just how they take it's such an iconic design. It's the egg, and they spin that in so many different ways, and just the ways that they kind of also pay homage to the original seasons or license when they do these collaborations are just so interesting how they choose those designs, especially again as a self-proclaimed eevee fan, the different waves from the eevee Tamagotchi are just so cool because it's based off the different robots from the series, and just seeing how they were able to put those on that iconic kind of nano shape without it sticking out. It doesn't look weird. It just fits. Same thing with the Demon Slayer one. It translates those kimono looks perfectly into these packages.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's beautiful.
And I think it's one of the reasons that makes Bandai so great is what the toys that they bring. We're so close to detail, from whether it's our action figures to, like you said, really bringing in the little things that mean a lot. Like, just changing the food from, instead of a candy, put green tea. That makes the fan base is just so much exciting. Or add watermelon. Like, you can tell me what the watermelon story is. I'm sure there's some connection in there that I should be aware of, but it's those little things that make your fan base happy to do and put a smile on your face.
Yeah, and I love that about Bandai. It's just like, it's one of the reasons why I out of all the toy brands, and I was just saying this because you guys give me this opportunity, I honestly mean this, like Power Rangers was like my first love, so like Bandai's always been a part. Like Power Rangers, Tamagotchi, and Digimon, 3 of my favorite franchises like ever. So Bandai's always been a part of my life. So I've always seen kind of like the evolution from, you know, way things were done back in the day to the way things are now with their more collector-oriented devices. There's so much attention to detail, and it's always wonderful. You know, the whole thing with the watermelons is kind of like an end joke with Evangelion fans. It's just a random scene where a guy's just like, he's tending to watermelons, and that's just his thing. So they just made it.
But that's the thing. It's those little things that make you happy. That is, you know, from a marketing perspective, when I want to get product out, it's like, come on, it's not that important. Let's go. Yeah. But you know, it's our R&D team that is just so particular and likes those little features and little things that just makes it a different part of where you are. And so yeah, it's fun. I mean, I've worked for different toy companies. It's fun to see the passion that the design and development team has with everything that they do. It's never half done. It's always all the way to the very end.
So something about Bandai, especially recently, I've noticed this with the Digimon team, and I've noticed also the same thing with the Tama team. You even mentioned it. There is a lot of feedback that comes from these devices, and you guys really take those to heart, and we all notice it and really appreciate it. So I was wondering, you know, in relation to these kind of like collaborations that we've been getting recently, especially some of the more Western ones for the Western audiences, like I think I have it back here, the Pac-Man Tamagotchi, which was
Pac-Man
one of my
Hello
favorite.
Kitty.
Yes,
and
the Hello
we're
Kitty.
Speaking one right now. I don't know if you've caught on. We snuck a Star Wars R2-D2 Tamagotchi that we're hinting right now on.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And we might be hinting something else coming in the next couple of weeks, in like the next week. Jefferson's laughing up there because he knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you for giving me a little scoop there. I really do appreciate that. I mean, Star Wars is another one of my favorite things out there. So that's another thing that I love, is just like Bandai is it's just all my favorite things constantly. Just always, and then Bandai's always the ones doing the collaborations with my favorite brands. So do you guys take kind of like, let's say like, you know, some fans are thinking about, you know, oh, they really like another brand, for example, either another anime or another video game. If there was enough fan demand, do you guys think that you guys would kind of take that into consideration when it comes to the next Western device? Or
of course, because I mean, it's part of the process, right? With that, remember, it does take us 18 to 24 months to turn these things around. So any feedback we receive, and then like next month you find it, yes, we're excited. Like, we get excited when we see fans like, oh my gosh, we need this, and in the back of our head goes, wait till you see, because you know that we're working on it. So obviously, our hope is we're ahead of it, right? So that we're not reacting to what the fans want, that we're getting it to the fans before they actually ask for it. Probably not that fast, but wait when it's in their head, be like, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be cool to have blah, blah, blah Tamagotchi? And then hopefully like 2 months, 3 months, 4 months later, all of a sudden we're announcing it, because we if we're doing our due diligence as a company and looking at who our core demographic is and our fan bases and knowing it's doing well here and there, we should be looking at what's relatable product that those fans are also into, that would help us, make you guys happy with new items and, help us to expand our product line. Sometimes our hands are tied, right? Because some licensors aren't going to work with us for various reasons, not from a political perspective, let me say, from like having issues between us, but sometimes there's contracts in place that we can't get. In fact, I laugh because when we went out with the Star Wars R2-D2 Tama a couple weeks ago, there was a fight in our social media about how can we do it because Hasbro has the rights. And like someone responded, they have action figure rights. No, they don't. Yes, they do. And I'm like, yeah. Well, really? Do you think we would be putting out a product if we didn't have a contract in place?
It's a bootleg, apparently.
Exactly. So, to me, it was just interesting that there was literally this whole conversation between two different fans about how we had the rights, because Hasbro has the rights to Star Wars. So, it's sometimes there's a lot of things I want to do. Like, I can tell you, I probably shouldn't, but there was a Pokemon one that was done a couple of years ago in Japan.
I was hinting at that one.
And we wanted it here as much as possible. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the rights to the US market.
Fair enough.
So yeah, so we look at each item and we have a really good relationship now. It's changed because of the success we've had with these, finding that you know, our team in Japan likes to do it as much as we like to do it, to be able to bring it here ourselves versus having a third party buy it and bring it here. So with that, we have regular meetings and we know it's coming, and you know, we're trying to get even, you know, my colleague and I are pushing ourselves into these meetings, even though they're Japanese speaking, just so we can get kind of insight earlier and trying to get, bring in, you know, what will work, what won't work. There are some product lines that we just aren't well known enough here. And we need to make that decision with so much going on. What's the right product line? They're doing a lot in Japan that's really exciting and fun that we hope to bring here. But again, sometimes our hands are tied. We do our best to untie them, but hopefully we are making the right decisions on what we're able to bring here or not.
Thank you so much. See, again, that's the wonderful thing about these kind of interviews, getting that kind of insight. See, I love the fact that, you know, again, just the passion between the Tama team and the Digimon team, how you guys really try to keep an ear on the ground when it comes to Japan, and you know, trying to keep up to date. I mean, you guys are way more up to date than us, especially now. You're getting that kind of like that early stuff, and you're testing the waters and seeing, you know, what would work here in America, and I really do appreciate that, you know. So just like because this is going on my channel, I just want to say, don't bully Bandai about the eevee Tamagotchi. Bully Nintendo about it. Tell them to let Bandai use it.
No. They've got reasons. I'm sure they have reasons themselves.
Yeah, they have reasons, but no, don't bully anyone.
Yes, exactly. We don't want to do any bullying. Do your training and nurturing through Tamagotchi devices.
Yes.
No, but we do love our fans, and you know, I do read my socials and see what people are saying and what they're looking for. You know, I could spend probably a half an hour talking about things that people are asking for, why we can't do it, because there are such rabid, I mean, the Tama fans are, you know, some of, like, I know you're more of this world fan base, but our Tamagotchi fans are rabid fans, and they try to get as much as they possibly can get.
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep up with them sometimes.
Yeah, there's a lot of bleed between the Digimon and Tamagotchi fans, naturally, because they're both Bandai, but also kind of the programming is very similar. So whenever the Tamagotchi fans kind of come over to Digimon, it's just like, oh, okay, hold on.
You know what though? They live in their own little worlds, right? The programming is not, I mean, it's invented by the same team. It was part of Wiz, and so it is our sister, you know, as Cisco likes to say, it's the cooler younger brother of Tamagotchi. I kind of disagree on the cooler part, but they get to fight is what he likes to say. So, you know, there's a purpose for all of them. We wouldn't be releasing everything that we do. It's the same thing as I go through my Tama. There's a lot of Tama product out there, but every single one has a reason. I don't like just to throw out product to see what works and what doesn't work. And I just realized my lights aren't completely on, so sorry about that. But I do think that, you know, no one should be you know, if you're a Dragon Ball, Demon Slayer, but if you're a Digimon fan, there's nothing wrong with being a Digimon fan versus a Tama fan. There's a room enough for everybody to choose. Absolutely. Or be both. Why not be both? Much more fun.
Oh yeah. That's what I do. It's a lot more fun. Exactly. More things to raise. Well, that's sometimes a problem, but you know, just raise 2 at a time, 3 at a time. That's the other thing about Tamagotchi fans. That's what I got from them. They just, you know, 5 at a time. They'll have a little nest. It's a lot.
I don't know how they do it, because I've had to, when I've launched our Tama on 2 years ago, and I was keeping 4 of them happy at the same time. That is a lot of work, especially when I was like flying to New York for Toy Fair. I'm like on a plane trying to hide them, take care of them at the same time, and you know.
PSA,
and then I realized that the newer ones, the Tama on, the Tama Pix, if I take the batteries out, these don't work that same way, but
no, yeah.
I can kind of pause those bigger ones a little bit easier. But yeah, I don't know how people do 5 at a time. That's a lot of work. Hopefully the babies are at different stages, because Tama baby is a long 2 hours.
A lot of work, yeah.
So anyway.
I just wanted to thank you two again for setting this up, and thank you so much for letting me in on this, like giving me little insights on the behind the scenes of this, and also giving us an exclusive look at some of the upcoming products at Bandai when it comes to both the Demon Slayer Wave 3 Tamagotchi, the Evangelion Tamagotchi, and some of the newer stuff you mentioned. I won't say it again because I don't want to get you in trouble. But I do really appreciate that. The fans also appreciate it. It's always wonderful talking to you. I really hope we get another chance. Then the next super secret thing comes out, I would be the one. I'd be happy to do this again.
Well, thank you so much for your support also, because it's fans like you that make our lives much easier and much more fun, to be honest with you. It's more to be able to talk to fans that really understand and know the product, to be honest, not to get myself in trouble with other press. Sometimes you talk to press people that have no idea what the product line is, so it's a lot more fun for me to be able to talk to someone that's more into understanding the overall play. So we do appreciate it, and your support.
All right. Thank you again so much. And again, your work does not go unnoticed. We really all appreciate it. So thank you all, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
I really hope you enjoyed this interview. Again, I had such a wonderful time talking with Tara. I really hope I can talk to her and Cisco again in the near future when these devices do come out. And whenever they're gearing up for the next devices, I would absolutely love to talk to them, because again, it's so cool to be able to get insight on the background, like how do these things, the amount of work that they put in to release just one device. None of us really know that, and to kind of get more insight into the hard work that goes into this, it really makes you appreciate the devices even more, because they really put a lot of work into releasing these in America. And the coolest thing about this interview, one of the cool things about this interview that I absolutely loved, is that she mentioned that her and Cisco are now sitting in on these meetings that Bandai Japan has as far as future releases in Japan, and they figure out whether or not these can work in America. That's super cool. So like, they're getting the inside scoop right now. They already know what Bandai Japan's working on as far as Tamagotchi, as far as Digimon, and they're already working on to seeing, if these things will work here in America, which is really cool. It's good to know that both of these brands are in such good hands between Cisco and Tara. I'm really happy that I got to talk to both of them, because like I said, they both gave me different insights on how these collaborations are done and how much work goes into releasing these devices, and it was really cool. In the interview, she did mention that we are getting an R2D2 Tamagotchi. I am super excited for that. I cannot wait to see how that goes. I know that Tiger got the rights for Star Wars way back in the day when the prequels were coming out. There was Yoda VPET. I believe there was also an R2D2 VPET, but to have an official Tamagotchi, that's going to be really amazing. I cannot wait to pick those up. That's so cool. Another collaboration that she was hinting at that was actually released less than a couple days after having this interview with her was the BT21 Tamagotchi. I think she was hinting at that, unless she was hinting at another release coming soon. I'm not too sure, but I do know for sure that the BT21 Tamagotchi came out almost immediately after she mentioned it. So that was really cool to get a little inside scoop on, the future releases coming out. And she said there is much more to come. So that is really, really exciting. If you're a fan of these Tamagotchi Nanos, I know I am. I love these little collaborations. They put so much work into the littlest of details. They're super simple to use. They do not require any Japanese knowledge. And just like she said, they're getting their way here. So they might as well just officially release them. They're able to undercut that scalper market. We're able to buy it directly from Bandai, supporting them, and it doesn't cost us an arm and a leg, which I really, really appreciate. Now, the biggest thing that she did mention in this was the fact that she desperately wants the eevee Tamagotchi to be able to come out in America. Just as much as we do. I own one, but I know how expensive they are now, and it is a real shame. Sadly, the rights just aren't there. Hopefully, whoever holds the rights in America I believe it's Tomy now, or maybe it's still Jack specific. Hopefully they're able to reach some kind of deal or consensus, because I would absolutely love for them to be able to release that in America. It would be a smash hit. It would be a genius move, and it was an amazing device too. It really does need a re-release as well, because the first rounds of the eevee Tamagotchi did have a glitch where Sylveon was a bit too easy to get. Sadly, not in the cards. They were not able to release it, so that is a shame. But again, it was really wonderful to get this insight, to get some little hints at what's to come, and just some straight up confirmations. It was really nice, and I really appreciated the opportunity, and I really hope I get to talk to him again. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Huge shout out to my patrons for supporting the channel, and huge shout out to you for watching it all the way to the end. You make this worthwhile, and I really appreciate it.